This is Tom Doody, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You would find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Doody in a Google search for my site. In this podcast, I will read some text written by Mr. Wortham, and he explains who he is. I've wanted to do this many times, but it's awkward because I am the subject is my late son, David Michael Doody, born 1988, died 2007. He's buried in Pennsylvania. He was born in Michigan. In this text, as the reader, I say I, but I'm not speaking of Tom Doody, me. I'm speaking of the writer, who is Mr. Wortham. I'll repeat this at the end. I don't want my listeners to be confused. Some of you may have noticed I sort of went off the air in the last few days. That's because I had to go up to Pennsylvania for a funeral. And that doesn't begin to describe it. I've never experienced or been affected by one like this. David Michael Doody, 19, who befriended my youngest daughter as soon as she arrived up there to spend her last year of high school while studying ballet, died last week from injuries received in a car accident. He was a passenger in a vehicle with 3 other boys heading down a serene residential street in broad daylight when another car came out of a side street and broadsided them. David was thrown from the car and he hit his head on the pavement. One other boy suffered a concussion and his arm was in a sling. The other 2 seemed okay, but David died 2 days later. David was my daughter's one closest friend up there. That's them and their high school graduation in June. My wife spent the year with her, just coming home last month, and David was always there for both of them. He shoveled their car out of a parking space when they were immobilized. He brought them leftover bread and pastries from Panera, where he worked. He essentially became a member of the family, a fixture in their tiny apartment where they were living, filling some of the void left by the rest of us who were still down here in SC. First thing I heard about David was at the beginning of the 06-07 school year, when my wife told me how great it was that my daughter, who had a friend who was friends with everybody, this was reinforced these past few days. I learned that David transcended cliques of high school. He was a member of all of them. As he walked the halls of school, everyone wanted to talk to him. He'd stop and speak to all of them without favoritism. He liked everybody. Eulogists spoke of something I had noticed, in which my wife had reinforced. David was utterly unaffected. He was himself with everyone. My wife mentioned going into a restaurant with him and my daughter, and a kid from special ed at the high school was there and got excited, shouting, "David Doody! David Doody! David Doody!" David just said, "Hey, man," and paused to chat, acting like that was the most natural greeting in the world. The funeral home the night I got up there was crammed and overfilling with his friends. Weeping girls and boys spilled out onto the parking lot and collapsed on the curbs. The next day, the funeral procession was the longest I had drove in. On my several visits up there during the year, David was always around, and he was always an uplifting presence. I can't picture him not smiling. The world suffered a terrible loss last week, and you may not have known it. But there's a small town in Pennsylvania that is utterly But there is a small town in Pennsylvania that is acutely aware of its loss. Posted by Brad Wortham. This has been Tom Doody, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Doody in a Google search for my site. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, and restful night sleep. Amen.